to yoga and farming for fitness with Deb here at Trolley Line Vineyards. Sorry I've been away for a little while. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling a little unsettled, and so I've struggled to come back to my mat. But I decided this was a good place to settle and to share some yoga once again. So I hope you can join me in this practice and that it will provide some encouragement and some restoration and some strength for you. So as you settle your way in, take your time. Arrange what you need to be comfortable, but not lazy, active here for our physical practice of yoga, and allow that physical practice to bring renewal to your spiritual and emotional state, perhaps. So as you sit, settle in, grounding down through your sit bones, allowing yourself to feel secure in that base. Whether you're sitting on the floor, on a block, on a chair, sit in a manner that allows you to lengthen your spine. So firmly rooting down and lifting up through the crown of the head, which is back here a little bit, not here. So a common dilemma for folks when they do settle in is to be somewhere with the chin rather high in the air, and that puts a little strain into your neck as well as kind of defeats the notion of drawing your awareness inward. So soften the chin toward the chest and allow the gaze to come down to the floor, perhaps, or even allow your eyes to close if you're comfortable there. Roll your shoulders around a couple of times, squeezing them front and back, and then softening them into place. I like to sit with my palms up, feeling as though I'm welcoming the energy of life into my humble space. And so as you settle into this seat, be aware of the effort involved to keep the spine long, to encourage its length, as well as the ease you can find by sort of softening yourself around that central pillar of your spine. Allow the face to soften. Release hold of that space between the eyebrows. Relax the jaw. Maybe move it side to side a little. Open and close, and then just let the tongue lightly rest in the mouth. Maybe tip of the tongue behind the upper teeth, or wherever it settles into ease for you. And allow your awareness to come to your breath. And first, simply be aware of your breath. Feeling the cool air come into the nostrils and the warm air releasing back out through the nostrils. And perhaps you'll notice, simply by bringing your attention and awareness to the breath, it responds to your attention. And it slows down a little. And it deepens a little. Allow that deepening allow that slowing to be a little more deliberate now. And allow yourself to become involved with the action of the breath, the physical components of the breath, allowing your diaphragm to support the base of the lungs as you fill them, and to push gently up on the base of the lungs as you empty them. So as you breathe in, relax your belly and expand your rib cage. And feel the breath, fill the upper lobes of the lungs all the way up beneath the collarbones. And as you exhale, think of softening the collarbones out toward the tips of the shoulders, opening the space in the upper chest. Gently squeeze in the rib cage, and at the end of your exhalation, draw your low belly in and up as though you're hugging it to your spine. And then relax it and release it as you fill again with the next breath, expanding and opening, receiving the energy of the breath, and releasing and gently hugging that energy all the way into your core. Opening to the breath, expanding and receiving, and keeping the energy that serves you in this moment. Breathe with confidence. Breathe with the knowledge that as you complete each exhalation, squeezing the air out, another breath will follow with its energy to nourish you, to restore you. Expand and feel the breath. Condense and conserve its energy and strength. Keep breathing in this manner, open and receptive, strong and secure. Keep breathing in this fashion as best you can throughout your practice. Expanding, receiving, opening to the energy of the breath, and drawing that energy back into your core as you release the breath out. Soften chin toward chest. Slowly move the head to one side as though you could bring ear over shoulder and relax the opposite shoulder, releasing it down and back. Soften chin toward chest once again. Slowly move the head to the other side, softening the opposite shoulder back and down. Release chin to chest. And allow your next breath to travel all the way up the spine and simply float your head back to center. Give the shoulders a couple rolls. And allow your eyes to open. And then stretch your legs out a moment. Rock your feet back and forth a little bit. Relax the ankles, wiggle the toes, pump your feet. Pump them, pedal them. And then bring your feet beneath you and curl your toes under and give your feet a little stretch. Put some weight back into them if you can. If you keep practicing this foot stretch, you will gradually build more resilience back into your feet as well. If blocks are useful to you, I hope you have them nearby. They're especially helpful when the floor is a little out of reach as you bend over. So bring your feet beneath you using blocks if they're helpful. And get your feet securely on the floor. And then just hang for a moment, relaxing the neck and jaw, letting the crown of the head release toward the floor, easing your sit bones toward the sky, but there's no urgency to that movement here. Just relax and release, hanging like a rag doll. Gently move the head. And maybe slowly walk the hands over to one side and stretch a little here. Be mindful of how your back is feeling. Don't overstretch as you come to the other side. A little stretch. And back to center. Think about the muscles that line your spine. Keep the knees nice and soft and begin to engage those muscles until your back flattens right out. Let the hands rest on the thighs and maybe press the thigh bones back a little, but don't sacrifice length in your spine simply to get the legs straight. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, press firmly through the feet and come up to standing. And prepare for salutations to the sun. A lovely head to toe stretch that you can modify to suit your needs. So come forward on your mat and then establish a solid and secure Tadasana, mountain pose. So check in with your feet. Maybe rock them a little bit. Wake up sensation in the feet. Come onto the balls and the heels. Lift your toes up, spread them out. Relax them down. And then check the position of your feet and see that they're parallel to each other. And then allow your feet to settle into the floor. Strengthen your legs by drawing calf muscles to the shins, thigh muscles up into the hips. Lift from the low belly and soften your sit bones toward the earth without pressing down, without flattening out the low back, allowing for a curve to stay, but with an accompanying lift. Roll the shoulders a couple times. And relax the arms and simply allow them to hang from the shoulders. Find that lift again from the crown of the head. Remember, it's back a little bit, not toward the front. So if you're here, and you don't know if you're here, sense that by softening chin back and down and lifting from the crown of the head. Take a moment to notice how easily you breathe here, how securely you stand, firmly rooted, open-hearted. And bring the palms together in front of the heart. nice deep breath all the way in. And let all of it out. As you breathe in again, sweep the arms wide and reach to the sky. As you exhale, soften the knees, a little swan dive. Float the heart down. Try not to lead with the chin, but simply float down. Place the hands on the mat or blocks, perhaps, or books or cans, whatever you might be using. Outside the feet, let's stretch our right foot back as far as you can. And then lower the right knee. And find your way to what may be your first lunge of the day. Let the arms hang down from the shoulders. Let the heart space shine. And let your hips sink toward the earth. Lunges and other hip stretches are great for hip mobility, and hip mobility is great for a healthy back. Continue breathing deeply and smoothly, expanding and opening as the breath comes in, and squeezing that strength to your core as the breath goes out. Bring hands onto the mat. Take the left foot back to meet the right and come into York plank pose, which might be with the knees resting. It might be with the knees lifted. Whichever one suits your practice right now. Embrace it. Draw your pubic bone up towards your navel. Spread your fingers wide and press right out to the tips of each finger and the thumbs. And breathe as deeply as you comfortably can. If the knees are lifted, soften them down. As you exhale, round your spine. As you inhale, lift sit bones and gently stretch all the way up the front body, lifting the crown of the head. And then just move back and forth, rounding, pressing the breath out. Inhaling, arching, drawing the breath in. Couple more times. And then the next time you're ready to exhale, be sure your toes are tucked under. And as you breathe out, press your hands into the earth and send your sit bones to the sky. Don't worry about getting the legs straight yet. Come up high on the toes and lengthen the spine. And then soften the heels toward the earth without losing that length. If downward dog is a challenge for you at this time, downward facing puppy is a wonderful option. And then gaze forward. If you're in down dog, perhaps you lower the knees and step the right foot forward. And then come into a lunge. Blocks might be useful. Get them in place. And then relax the arms. Let them softly hang from the shoulders. and let the hips sink toward the earth. As you breathe a little openness into the hips, returning to a forward fold, tuck the toes of the back foot under and step it up to meet the front. Easy forward fold. With your next breath in, soften the knees a little, lengthen the spine, feel those muscles that line your spine, press through the feet, reach to the sky, palms to the heart. Release into mountain. Breathe deeply and see how you feel. Salutations to the sun, Surya Namaskar. Endless variations available. We'll visit another one now together. Palms together. Deep breath all the way in. And let all of it out. Inhaling, sweep, reach, stretch. And as you exhale, float your way down. If your shoulders welcome a little more stretch this morning, you might, or this afternoon, or whatever time it may be, bring the hands together at the low back, and then just extend the arms overhead. And breathe. And release the hands down. Bring them onto the mat or blocks outside the feet. This time send your left foot back as far as you can. And return to a lunge. Lots of options in your lunge. You can lift the knee or you can rest it once again. If you're lifting it, lift it with enthusiasm. Relax the arms. Let them hang down from the shoulders. And breathe. And perhaps the palms come together in front of the heart. Moving into plank pose. Hands come to the mat. It's the most stable. Right foot back to join the left. Shoulders over wrists. Body is long and strong. Breathe here. Can you tell if you're putting too much effort into a part of the pose? If your breath is challenged, you may be overdoing. If your mind is wandering, you may be underdoing. Seek that balance. Let the breath be your guide. Softly lower the knees. Round the spine as you exhale. Arch the spine as you inhale. Couple more times. And then press the hips to the sky, sit bones up, heels toward the earth, long back. And then left foot comes forward. And maybe you put your knees down for that to happen. And we're back to a lunge. And maybe you're smiling and breathing as deeply as you comfortably can. Palms come together, perhaps. Release the hands down. Step the back foot forward. Easy forward fold. Soften knees, lengthen spine. Press through the feet as you breathe in and reach to the sky. Exhale, palms to the heart. Release into mountain. And breathe here. We're going to include a simple standing pose in our practice today. A foundation pose, Warrior One. We've done a little stretching, a little opening for our hip zone to make this perhaps a little more accessible. And again, as with any pose, lots of variations are available. I'm going to put one blanket. It could be a pillow. It could be a number of things. But a blanket, a folded edge, a nice firm edge available for my back heel for a little support if I find I need it in my Warrior One pose. And return to Tadasana. I'm going to take my right leg straight back and let the toes of the right foot turn out just a little bit. If you're a seasoned practitioner, you may take a nice wide stance here and you may go more deeply into the pose. It's your practice with a little guidance. So let that left knee just be a little soft and really press down into that back right heel. And then check in with your hips. I like to get them squared to the front. Okay? So if taking that right foot back allowed you to turn your hips right open, here's where that prop could be useful. You might be able to rest your heel on the prop and press into that heel and maybe turn your hips to the front. If you were struggling to get them to come forward, just lifting that back heel a little can be helpful. I'm going to let mine sit down because I'm not going to go too deeply into the pose anyhow. Check in with your groundedness here. Strengthen that back leg, pressing into the heel. Let that pressing keep the hips forward. And then bring the arms back and open the palms to the side. And take a couple breaths right here with your heart space wide open. If you're feeling any challenges in your low back here, think about dropping that sit bone right down toward the back of the knee and softening the hips down, and then bend the front knee a little more deeply. With your next breath in, as you inhale, sweep the arms forward and up. If this is challenging to your shoulders, let the elbows be wide. Right? If this is not challenging to your shoulders, you might even bring the palms together, pressing them together. Little finger side of the hands turning gently upward. And you can follow with your gaze. And breathe here. And embody a warrior. Grounded and secure. open-hearted, a spiritual warrior, perhaps, battling for what you know is right and good. Float the arms down, float the gaze down, and step the back foot forward. And stand for a moment and breathe. And then send your left foot back, straight back. Check in to be sure you're not stepping that foot behind the other foot. That will make the pose a little more challenging. So if anything, that back heel is aligned with the front foot, or maybe that left foot moves to the left a little bit, if that allows you to square your hips to the front. Soften that front knee, and then press that back heel into the floor and check in with your hips here. You can send the hips down and forward a little. See how your back is feeling. Lifting up from the low belly, softening that sit bone down toward the back of the knee. So you have some space in your low back. And then sweep the arms back a little and open your heart space. Maybe your arms stay right here, or maybe you sweep them skyward, choosing a position that works for you. Maybe palms come together. Maybe your gaze lifts up. Summon your strength. Strengthen your spirit. Float the arms down. Float the gaze down. Step the foot forward. Stand in mountain. And allow yourself to prepare to rest. I'm going to come into a gentle twist before we recline completely for Shavasana. A blanket is a nice option, or a little pillow, something to support your head if you like. And maybe something to catch your knees in this twist. If you already know when you twist to one side or the other that your legs don't come down easily to the floor, nothing wrong with that, but it's more relaxing and releasing if you have a little support. So, a block, a blanket, or nothing at all. Feet on the floor, knees bent, slowly lower down. And once you come down, draw the knees toward the chest and hug. Circle your feet, relax your ankles. And then let the knees stay close. And extend the arms out onto the floor and flatten your shoulder blades onto the floor. Palms up. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the knees over toward the left elbow as you roll onto your left hip. And if it's comfortable for your neck, turn the gaze to the right. As you inhale, notice where your body holds on a little bit. As you exhale, see if you can soften that holding. With your next breath in, bring the head back to center. Bring the knees back to center. And as you exhale, slowly release the knees to the other side. Settle your way in. And perhaps turn your head. And breathe. As you inhale, bring head back to center, bring knees back to center. Wrap your arms around once again, lift the head, curl your toes, take a breath in and squeeze as tightly as you can. Scrunching up the nose and the face, curling the toes, gripping the hands, holding on tight. And then release and relax. Let the feet come down and let the body begin to settle into space. Softening the shoulder blades onto the mat. Maybe making a little space for your low back by lifting up and sending sit bones toward the backs of the knees so your low back relaxes a little. If it's comfortable for you, extend your legs. If that brings a challenge to your low back right away, bend the knees, take the feet to the outer edges of the mat, and then just let the knees drop together, and your legs will hold each other up, and your back can still relax. Allow the awareness to return to the breath. Allow the breath to guide you more deeply into rest. Feel the skin soften across the body. Feel the muscles that rest beneath the skin, allow them to yield their hold. Feel the muscles release their hold of the bones and allow the weight of the bones to drop to the earth. Allow your body its rest. Continue resting with the body at ease and the breath flowing softly and the mind finds its way to peace. As you breathe, allow this to be your comfort. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be free from fear. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the world be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.